Do you like monster girls? Do you want to find out the signs of monster girls? Do you want to know how they evolved to become monster girls? Well, this one might just do that job. Hello and welcome to That Man. That is my merchandise, and today we are looking at Creature Girls, a hands-on field journal in another world. Now, I really like Monster Girl series. A lot of them are over the top, the daft, the wacky, and they do kind of have a lot of unique things. So I thought I want a new Monster Girl series. Monster Musume, there's going to be a long time before volume 15. Monster Wrestling and the Red Light District one, they're kind of once in the blue moon kind of series as well. And I saw this one, I saw it was coming out, and I saw 7C's kind of hyping it up a little bit. And I thought, you know, I'll try it out. The worst thing is I can try it and not like it. Which, I didn't dislike this book. I had a lot of issues with this book. I probably won't collect more of this book, of this series. But, can you remember a few weeks back where I spoke about a series called How to Build a Dungeon? Where I kind of was like, yeah, the story would be good, except they kept forcing in sex. Now, this one does have a lot more redeeming features than that one. However, it does come across a little bit more creepy. So this tells the story of a young man who is obsessed with monster girls. He is then transported into another world where monster girls are the dominant species. And yeah, I was like, yeah, brilliant, I don't mind that. Then it quickly devolved. His main goal is to be king of the Monster Girl Harem. And almost straight away he's just thrown girls at him. I kind of like Monster Musume where all of the characters had these flaws. All of these characters had this kind of reason to attach themselves to this man. Creature Girls is kind of just the usual isekai trope. Fat man finds girl kind of in a predicament, a very slight predicament, saves girl, she joins the harem. And that kind of happens more or less straight away. Now, the one thing I can say is that this one does focus on arachnids, which, yeah, brilliant, that's fine. And the one thing I did love is that it went into the whole science of it. It explained how girls evolved into arachnids, how they breed, how they have a lifestyle, how they build houses, how they go to war, how they use weaponry. A lot of the stuff is very in-depth, to the point that it kind of feels like it was very much inspired by both Dr. Stone and Monster Musume. The fact that I mean, yeah, let's face it, it's science, it's not exactly its whole kind of thing, but it kind of feels very in-depth with what it does, and I was really enjoying that. The chapters were very long-winded, and it kind of does drag. It's not one I kind of felt I didn't manage to sit and binge through all of this in one night. It was very slow going, it was very difficult to get into, and it was very difficult to get back into because it was more facts and stuff like that, and I was fine with that. The problem is that once again it kind of falls in the same plot falls as How to Build a Dungeon. This guy wants to be king of the Monster Girl harems, and so we have lots and lots and lots and lots of sex. Pretty much every single chapter. Now, I don't mind sex in manga, I don't mind it when it's done well. This just kind of felt forced. I mean, we kind of have a reason why the kind of get together, and it's kind of like, well, this is a whole thing. This is, I want to have your babies and stuff like that. And then it was just kind of like, yeah, fair enough. And then it was just like half the chapter was like that, and I was just like, yeah, once I've seen it once, it wasn't particularly titillating, it's not something you would probably enjoy. It just kind of felt that sex for the sake of having sex in a manga. And yeah, I kind of didn't like that. When I kind of like it, I do like the kind of over the top stuff where it's just goofy and ridiculous and stuff that's implied. A lot of the stuff that they kind of do could have been implied, which could have left for other stuff. Now, the plot is pretty okay. I do like the idea that this man's came from another world, and the Arachnes, one of the reasons why this one ends up sleeping is because her mom kind of forces, because they realise he has all of this information, because he basically said, oh, I'm like 1,000 years advanced, and they're like, we'll get some of that technology on. So yeah, I was like, oh brilliant, it's going to be like kind of Dr. Stone with Monster Girls. Then it's like, oh, by the way, you can't do this and this, and I was just like, and then rather than Senku kind of just going, well, I could do this with this, the guy was just like, spent like a whole chapter where he's just like, I can't do it, and then the Monster Girl's like, well, I'll have to set it up here so you can do it, and I was just like, yay. And no, it wasn't a particularly, it wasn't completely an enjoyable experience, this one. It wasn't bad, I really enjoyed the science, but then I was kind of thinking, why bother with this when there's stuff like the Monster Girl Encyclopedia, which does all of this but a little bit better, and you get a lot more content for your price. This one, it wasn't terrible, I just kind of felt that I just didn't enjoy it enough that I can say go out and buy it. If you like Monster Girls, if you absolutely adore them, yeah, fair enough, but this is what I would say is low on the priority. In my opinion, the way I'm kind of feeling is that with some of these series that's coming out, is that all of the good stuff has already been released, and now this is kind of like the scraps. This is the scraps that you get one because you can't get at a Monster Musume, and you can't get at Monster Wrestling and Monster Girl Encyclopedia and stuff like that. At the end of the day, let's face it, Monster Musume, there's not much coming out at the moment, so they're gonna have to try and fill out the void with stuff like this, and it's not even comparison. It's not even worth talking about in the same breath. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of like the main character isn't very likable, unlike Senku, where you do have a lot of, he's smart, so he does have a lot of like interesting things. He's kind of only interested in the Monster Girls. He's like, I mean, when they kind of like do the whole, oh well, you evolved because you're like basically like triplets like conjoined together and that's what forms an Arachne, but this is the kind of thing that happens. I was like, yeah, brilliant, explain stuff. Then it was like, but then he's like, oh, what's these holes? Oh, there's two. Oh. And then it was just like, yeah. And I was like, fine, you can talk about that, but yeah. But yeah, that's it from me. I thought I'd just have a quick little discussion on this one. Have you picked it up? If not, don't bother. I'm going to see if I might check out a few more volumes if they come up online, but I'm probably going to try and get rid of this one. It's not something I really want to have in my collection. It's not something I want to really explore more of. I might pick it up if there's a few on sale or something kind of like that, but yeah, very disappointed in this release. I would probably, if I had to rate it, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. There's a lot of really good ideas, but again, much like the dungeon one, it's that's in the background, that's kind of forced out of the way. I mean, I love the whole stuff with the Arachne going to war, the Arachne using weapons and stuff like that. That was all brilliant. But the problem is the whole sex part just brings it right down and just cheapens the whole experience. If you want that kind of thing, read Monster Musume, read the Red Light District one, which I can't, interspecies reviews, read Monster Wrestling, read Monster Girl Encyclopedia, read Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs. There's plenty more stuff out there which kind of does it a little bit better than this. This is the kind of one you can kind of pick up, flick through and just go, yeah, poor release in my opinion, and one that I would personally not recommend most people buy unless you're absolutely desperately starved for Monster Girl attention, in which there's hentai. You know, I'm not going to say, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for coming, and thanks again for staying. If you did enjoy this, please leave a like, please consider subscribing, and let me know in the comments what you thought of this series and have you picked it up. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.